You can make your house stronger and safer with just a little planning and not a lot of money. Hello, I'm Michael Holigan. Welcome to your new house. Steve Easley travels to Maui where they're working overtime to build the perfect hurricane-proof house. And super handyman Al Carroll's working on childproofing his house, and he's got some tips that can make your house safer for children and grandchildren. Plus, if you're tired of your battery-powered drill running out of juice, we've got a drill that just keeps going and going and going. It's all coming up right now on your new house. The average homeowner will re-roof their home 3 times. Not only is putting on a new roof expensive, but the National Association of Home Builders says more than 1.3 billion pounds of roofing waste ends up in landfills each year. One alternative to asphalt or tile is a metal roof. Metal roofing is widely used in commercial and industrial applications. But now more and more homeowners are discovering that choosing a metal roof offers an eye-catching and environmentally friendly option. AEP Span in Dallas is one of the leading suppliers of metal roofing materials. Heavy gauge steel is painted in a wide variety of colors according to the customer's needs. At the factory, the steel is cut to specific lengths according to the architectural design of the specific building project. Then it's shipped to the job site and readied for installation. One popular style is the curved metal roof. When the roofing materials reach the job site, a special machine is used to curve the metal panels to conform to the radius of the roof.
Michael, these are the fasteners that actually will hold the panel in place.
Okay, and how does that mount on the roof deck itself?
Well, before the panel goes down, what they're going to do is mark where this is going to be, and then they drill and screw this clip down right there.
Okay.
Then they'll slide the panel right in here, and then the neighboring panel will come in and fit together like that.
Okay. So you're not going to have any holes in the panel itself then?
No.
This piece is mounted to the deck,
Yeah.
and then you just bend the flaps down?
Mm-hmm. And then that piece of trim right over there will cap it off.
Got a cap that goes on the top, and we'll just drop that down over it. That's great. So there's no penetrations in the metal at all, so it won't corrode and no chance of a leak at that point.
Not at all.
I like that.
It's virtually a lifetime roof.
Alan, it looks like the crew's already got the first piece in place. Ready to slide another one over and
Yeah.
see how it locks down? Okay.
Great. Before we bend these down, I want to point out something to you on this. You see those ridges?
Sure, on the corners?
Yeah, those are going to catch and lock the cap seam in place. And what you can have during the course of a year is a 20 or 30 degree temperature differential, and the metal will expand and contract, and the cap seam without that ridge and without the foam sealant they put in it at the plant can allow the cap seam to ride up.
Okay, and we don't want it coming off for sure.
Yeah.
That's going to hold it in place. So we'll just set this over and press it down now and it'll lock on those?
Yep.
Okay. Got a mallet there?
Yeah, let me give you the tool.
Go right ahead. Because of their improved design, metal roofs resist water that can crack, shrink, or erode an asphalt or tile roof. Metal roofs are also a good choice in colder climates because they can handle heavy snow loads. Even though they're made of steel, metal roofs typically weigh less than half as much as asphalt and 1/4 as much as tile. Metal roofs hold up very well against hailstorms. By choosing metal, you can actually save money on home insurance premiums. Alan, you say that the metal roof is durable, but how about if you live in a hail zone?
Well, it's been recently, this particular company, Easpan, got a Class 4 rating.
Wow.
On their roof.
So it can withstand a lot of hail.
Yeah, and because of the rating, in some areas they can get up to 35% off their hazard insurance.
I bet, because the insurance company's not going to have to replace the roof, are they?
That's what they're after.
New designs in metal roofs offer literally dozens of styles and colors, giving homeowners the look they want for their house. And metal roofs not only add a touch of flair, they are also environmentally friendly. Alan, any benefit at all as far as the utility bills with the metal roof?
Yeah, of course, depending on the color, because the metal has a tendency to reflect the light and heat, you do get some energy efficiency.
That'd be good. How about if you have an existing roof? Do you have to rip off the old shingles to put on a metal roof?
Well, depending on the decking, if your subsurface is fine, you can apply this over the existing roof.
So we don't have to throw anything in the landfill?
No.
We're okay?
No.
Metal roofs cost 3 times more than asphalt, but because a metal roof almost never has to be replaced, it can pay for itself over time. With its design flexibility and great looks, a metal roof might be the right choice for your new house. If you'd like more information on metal roofs, contact us on the internet at michaelholigan.com.
You never know what kids are going to get into, but it's a good idea to be prepared for the worst. Super handyman Al Carroll has important tips on making your home child safe. And cordless tools are a wonderful thing until the battery dies, and so does your project. We'll show you a way to keep the power going when your new house returns. If you'd like a detailed list of the tools and materials needed for any project that you've seen on the show, you can find it on the internet at www.michaelholigan.com.
It's sometimes easy to forget that from a child's point of view, the world looks totally different. They are very curious, and the curiosity can lead to danger. If you're going to move into a new house, you ought to get over there and childproof it before you move in. And start with the kitchen. It's fraught with danger, like the knife drawer. Now, a kid has no idea of the danger that's inside a drawer like this. We can make it kid-proof, though. This is one of several different types. This is a spring-loaded catch. Real easy to install, just requires a couple of screws. You just mount it on the inside here. You want to be sure to position it so that when it's closed, this hook will go up here and hang on the lip. Now, the drawer closes in the same old fashion, but when you try to open it, only an adult will know how to open it. Now, here's another type of a drawer lock. The difference here is that we have a catch that's mounted under the lip right here. These can also be used on cabinets, and those are places where you really have to be careful with all the chemicals you have. Here's another cabinet lock, though, that I really like because it requires 2 fingers, and little hands couldn't handle that. Now, the kitchen range has lots of things that make it dangerous. First of all, you know how kids love to climb. Well, what happens if he steps on that? It's going to tilt over like so. The manufacturer of most ranges are going to include a bracket. It's called a tip bracket. And if you have an existing range, you can buy this. It's very inexpensive. You attach it to the wall with screws, attach it to the floor with screws, and then you slide the unit back in place. This is one of the feet off the back. When it slides in place, it's locked. It's not going to tip over. Now, kids love to turn knobs, but if they're turning the knob on the range, that can be dangerous. Here's a cover that prevents that. It's real easy to install. First of all, you just slide the knob off. You put the safety cover on there, slide the knob back on, close it. And now the kid can't do anything but just twist this around. However, if you want to cook dinner, you just press down and open it up, and you have easy access. Now, everybody knows that kids like to poke things in holes, and if it's a paper clip into the wall outlet, it could be fatal. I think everybody knows about these little plastic plugs, but they're great because they cover up the wall outlet, and they come in several different styles. And we can go one beyond this because I've got something over here that's even better. It's a cover that goes over the outlet, and here's what it consists of, 2 pieces right here. I've already installed this part. What you do is you can plug in over here to this, run your wire right down here. This forms a hinge up at the top, and it just snaps in place. And the kid can come up there and tug on it or do whatever. He can't get to the wall outlet or the plug. You need it, you squeeze, it comes right off. Now, we all have closets with things in there that could be dangerous to kids. See these 2 little pieces right here? They're going to snap together right here over the doorknob. Now, the kid's going to take it and turn like this, and he will not be able to open it. But if you want to open it, just press in on the 2 points. It opens. Nifty idea, costs practically nothing. You know, as children race around the house, they run into things, and if you happen to run into a corner like this with your head, it could be dangerous. There is a way to take that danger away. Now, this is made out of foam rubber. It also has a corner piece, and you use double-faced tape to stick it in place, and it goes in like that, and it really looks nice. If you needed to cut it for any reason, why, you can use scissors or a utility knife. And this is also a way to take care of any furniture that kids run into. You know, there are some other places in the house besides the kitchen that represent danger. Drapes and blinds often have cords that come down very low, and it's a temptation to children to get involved with it. It could be dangerous. Here's a little device that will take care of it. Now you line up the cord through there. This is the top part, and the cord's going to be coming in the top and out the bottom. Now what you do is roll it up, and in effect it shortens the cord. Now you just keep twisting until the cord is out of the reach of children. An automatic garage door opener is a great convenience, but if it should come down and strike a child, it could actually crush the child. All of the newer models must have an electronic eye. And if somebody runs in between the beam that goes across there, it will automatically send the door back up. If you have an older garage door opener that doesn't have a sensor system on it, you can buy one as an add-on. And if you have children, you gotta get it. Now, the many safety devices that we've shown you today are real inexpensive. You can get them at your home center or your discount department store. If you have children, you really should take care of them. If you have any questions about any of these things, why don't you contact us on the internet? It's michaelholigan.com.
Roses. If they're not America's favorite flower, they darn well ought to be. And many of us grow roses. And one of the things that you need to know to grow roses successfully is how to properly winterize roses. Now that simply means hardening them off and getting them ready to stand the rigors of the winter. And the first step involved in winterizing roses is called hardening off. And we do that about 6 weeks before frost simply by not fertilizing or watering our plants very much at all. The next step takes place after a good hard frost. Now these roses are still actively growing. They're obviously not ready to be winterized, but I want to show you the process and how it's done so that you'll be ready to do it at the right time of year. After a good hard frost, we want to cut our roses back to about 12 to 18 inches tall. And when we do that, we want to make our pruning cuts right above a node. A node is simply a growing point on a stem, and we want to make our cut right above the node. And when we do so, we want to use good, sharp, bypass pruning shears to do this. They make good cuts. And of course, the reason that we're doing this is because these stems could dry out during the winter or desiccate. And we want to reduce that desiccation simply by cutting the tops off the plant. And of course, if you've got any dead stems at all like this one, those should be cut back all the way to the ground. And our goal is to cut the rows back to about 12 to 18 inches tall. After we've got it cut back to 12 or 18 inches, we're going to go somewhere else in the garden and get some good topsoil. This step is called hilling the rows. We're actually going to make a mound of earth around the base of the rows after we've had a good hard frost again to insulate the soil and keep the cold in the root zone. Again, our goal is to prevent temperature fluctuations. We don't want the rows to start growing on a warm day in January. Once it's properly hilled up and the soil firm to protect the crown, we're going to make a chicken wire cylinder. We want to make it big enough to be able to go over the plant and give us plenty of room to put mulch in there. And if you've got good pruning shears, you've probably got a wire cutting notch on them. If you don't, then use wire cutters for this job. Don't damage your shears. Cut straight down through the chicken wire. And then fasten the ends together so you've got a cylinder. Once you've got the chicken wire formed into a nice neat cylinder, place it over the rose bush and stake it down with a couple of metal or even wooden stakes so that the wind doesn't blow it over. And then fill it with mulch. And you need to use a mulch that doesn't compact during the winter. I like pine needles for this purpose. They never quite pack tightly. We can fill this basket to a height of about 6 to 12 inches, depending on how cold it is in your part of the country. And we'll leave it that way until next spring. In the springtime, we're going to reverse the process. We carefully remove the basket and then just as carefully take away the mulch. Now there may be new growth coming up if it's been warm, and we want to be careful not to damage it. And after we've gotten the mulch pulled away, and don't throw it away or dispose of it, then we carefully pull the soil back. Again, be careful of new shoots that may be coming up at the base of the rows. They'll be very brittle and they'll break easily. Remove the soil. And then, in the spring, if there's a danger of a late frost, you can use the same mulch and place it carefully around the base of the plant to protect those new shoots. If you'll follow these steps in the fall, and again in the spring, you'll be smelling good roses all summer long in the great outdoors.
Usually a door sticks because it's sagging in the opening and rubbing up against the frame. So here's some quick tips on how to find the problem and fix it. First, open the door and look for worn spots along the top edge of the door. Then also look for worn spots along the top edge of the latch side jamb, which is this vertical part of the door frame right here. A common culprit for this is usually loose upper hinge screws. But before you tighten them, take some wood shims and shove them underneath the door on the latch side. This will support the weight. Then go ahead and snug down the screws in the door frame and the door. Then remove the wood shims, shut the door, and see how it works. Now if it's still sticking, your door is probably out of alignment. So to fix that, you need to remove the screws that are driven into the side jamb here at the bottom. Then just cut out a piece of cardboard so that it's the same size as the leaf of your hinge. Then place the cardboard behind the hinge and reinstall the screws. The cardboard backing will move the bottom edge of the door slightly toward the latch side jamb and tip the top edge away from it. If you find that the top edge of the door is still rubbing against the head jamb, which is this horizontal piece of framing up here, then put the piece of cardboard behind the upper hinges. This will tilt the door down. Now it'll also keep the bottom edge of the door away from the side jamb if it's still rubbing down there.
High winds can huff and puff and blow your house down if you're not prepared. Steve Easley looks at a government program that's helping people stand up to the storm when we return.
It's one of the most beautiful places in the world, the Hawaiian Islands. But did you know since 1950 these islands have been hit by 5 major hurricanes that have caused serious damage to people's homes? And on the mainland, we've seen over 160 hurricanes in the last century. Well, today I'm on the island of Maui, and we're going to show you how to build a hurricane-resistant home. Along the coastline of Maui, there are numerous homes under construction that could lie in the path of the next potential hurricane. And because the island is also vulnerable to tidal waves, it's been chosen by the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, to become a disaster-resistant community. Through a FEMA program called Project Impact, home builders are being encouraged to use reinforced rafter ties and other construction techniques that will make their homes more resistant to natural disasters. Buzz, this is one of the most beautiful building sites in the world, but you're less than 50 feet from the Pacific Ocean. How do you build a house that's not going to be blown away by the storms?
Well, what we've done is we've taken the County of Maui code and we basically just doubled it. We came in here knowing that we had some real problems to deal with, and we started at the bottom and worked our way up and just built everything as heavy duty and as storm resistant as we possibly could.
Now there's a lot of things you have to deal with, you know, storms and floods. What are you trying to design for?
Well, our basic trade winds come out of the northeast and they run between 15 and 35 miles an hour daily. We also have the flood issue from the stream on the south side of the property, which the West Maui Mountains are some of the wettest mountains in the world, and it floods over here. And so we have to deal with that, and our foundations have to be able to take that abuse. We also have the issue of the possible tidal wave coming down the coast. The Kona storms come across the channel this way, and so there's a lot of different issues that we have to deal with. And by building these type of houses, we really, I think, covered most of the major concerns.
Well, Buzz, the first thing I notice about this house, it's about 10 feet out of the ground.
That's right. As I mentioned, we're in a real bad flood zone down here. And so one of the challenges was trying to pick a design of a home that fits in being this far off the grade.
And this is a post and beam type construction. I noticed that these columns are pretty good size. They're about 12 inches by 12 inches.
That's right. They're 12 by 12 posts, and they run all the way through the whole house up to the roof rafters. And one of the biggest things about this construction is the type of footings we've done. Now what we did was we took the basic footing and we expanded on it. Now this footing actually runs out about 5 feet square and about 5 feet deep all around this pad here. And what that's done is that's given us a real solid foundation to work with. And then we interconnected everything with lots of steel, doubled up on the concrete required, and then bolted right through the posts.
Now these wood frame members are actually bolted down into the concrete. Then I also noticed you have a series of these grade beams that run across here, these concrete like rectangles that tie each of these columns together.
That's right. The grade beams weren't really necessary per code, but what we thought was, we're on this river, we have some real flood issues to deal with, and we decided we'll throw in the grade beams, we'll double the size. These are actually 2 feet thick, and it ties the whole foundation together, and we could literally lose a couple of our pads and this thing would still be solid.
Well, I noticed that you built this above and beyond the code, but also to FEMA guidelines as well.
What we're trying to do is we're trying to build as strong as we can to resist any kinds of hurricanes or flooding or storm issues, and that's part of the FEMA guidelines. What we have here, Steve, is a nailing pattern to help ensure the shear panel is going to stay on the wall in connection to the posts. These are stainless steel nails along with pressure-treated plywood, and the corrosion factor is a big issue over here because we are so close to the ocean.
You know, salt air.
The salt air, that's right. Another factor I'd like to show you is our windows. These are basically standard vinyl windows, but we picked this particular brand because the glass is mounted from the exterior rather than the interior. That will help during high winds keep the glass from blowing out, and that's an important factor, you know, building right here on the ocean.
Well, that's great. Well, now let's go take a look at the roof.
Sounds great.
Well, Buzz, this is one heavy roof. How are you going to hold this down?
Well, Steve, what we're doing is we're using a system of notching and bolting into these 12 by 12 posts, and these posts run all the way through to the foundation, and so we're really hoping that this thing will tie it all together, keep it nice and tight, and really hold the thing together in some heavy winds.
Well, I noticed over here these rafters are connected to these beams with some metal ties.
That's right. They call for a 1 hurricane clip per rafter, and what we've done is we added 4 in there, so each rafter is held down by 4 clips, which should really give us some extra protection when we need it.
Well, yeah, I guess these clips would be far better than the way we typically do it, which is nail a few 16 penny or 3 or 4 inch nails into it. I also noticed that over here you do quite a bit of notching on this ridge rafter here, and how that's put together is kind of, I think, indicative of what you're trying to accomplish. Tell me about this ridge beam.
Well, what we've done is we've got a glue lam ridge beam up here, and each one of the rafters that runs into the ridge beam is strapped down from the top with additional metal strapping. And so you can't see it, but this thing is really held together with a lot of metal and a lot of strapping material.
Well, what kind of winds could this building withstand?
Well, our goal is 140 miles an hour.
Well, if you ever have a hurricane go through there, I can't imagine it being much stronger than that.
Well, we're hoping.
Life isn't all fun and games, but if you're considering building a game room, I've got some tips you're not going to want to miss. And you can do anything now online, including applying for a mortgage. We'll have some tips on what to look for and what to avoid in today's mortgage moment. All coming up when we return to your new house.
If you'd like a detailed list of the tools and materials needed for any project that you've seen on the show, you can find it on the internet at www.michaelholigan.com.
It's one thing to navigate your way through the mortgage process, and another to navigate the internet. Or is it? Researchers predict that in the first few years of the 21st century, between 10 and 20% of all home mortgages will be online mortgages. That means hundreds of billions of dollars worth of mortgages will begin with the click of a mouse. Will you become an online mortgage shopper? It wouldn't hurt to try. Even if you prefer to do business face-to-face, you can still use the internet to gather information about your mortgage options. Many individual lenders and mortgage brokers offer electronic guides through the mortgage process. And the federal government and nonprofit organizations like the AARP The American Association of Retired Persons offer terrific consumer advice on a variety of mortgage topics. You could also turn to the internet simply to find the names, addresses, and phone numbers of lenders in your area. The rest of your mortgage process would be very traditional. If you have a special lending need, such as major credit problems, or you are looking for a second mortgage, the internet's a great place to start. Check out the internet sites that let you communicate the details of your situation to several lenders at once. It's a case of don't call us, we'll call you. You put the information out there and then wait to hear from lenders who have products to fit your needs. This can save you lots of time. And finally, there are one-stop shopping sites that give you all the information you need to select and close on a mortgage yourself. In effect, you're cutting the loan officer out of the picture. These sites let you compare the mortgage products of a host of lenders on a true apples-to-apples basis. They give you the most current rate information, allow you to apply online, and best of all, can save you anywhere from $500 to $1,500 in application fees and closing costs. The internet is definitely the new frontier in the mortgage industry, combining speed with convenience. But the best advice is old advice. Do your homework and shop smart.
Today, as in the past, energy conservation has been a vital concern to homeowners. Since the energy crisis in the mid-70s sent utility bills soaring, homeowners have appreciated the value of a well-insulated home. Now, luckily, re-insulating your attic doesn't have to be rocket science. It's a project that you can save money on if you do it yourself, and also you can save money on your utility bills for years to come. Now, today for our attic, we're using blown-in cellulose insulation. If you want to do this project, the first thing that you need to do is make a stop at your local home center. You'll need to use an insulation machine, and you can rent this for minimal or at no cost from your local home center. All we had to do was put down a deposit, and we'll get that back when we return the machine. Now, basically, this consists of two parts. This is the hopper, and at the bottom you can see the agitator. That's what actually breaks up the insulation. This is the blower, and it takes the insulation up through the hose into the attic. Now, this is a two-person project because you're going to need someone down here feeding the hopper while you're upstairs blowing the insulation. The cellulose that we're using is made from recycled materials, primarily recycled newspaper, so it's not harmful to breathe and it's not itchy to your skin like fiberglass would be. What we have to do next is go upstairs and prep the attic. Anytime you're working in the attic, if you don't have a floor down, make sure that you only walk on the ceiling joist. You don't want to fall through your ceiling. Please, one project at a time. What I've done is taken a board and laid it across the ceiling joist. Now I can work up here a whole lot easier. Whenever you're blowing insulation in your attic, you don't want to blow insulation into the eaves that overhang the house. You still need a well-ventilated attic. Even in the wintertime, you still need the air circulation to prohibit any unwanted moisture up here. We bought these baffles for less than $1.50 at our local home center. What you want to do with these is place those so that you're covering up the overhang. Just use a staple gun to attach this to the ceiling. Now you can see that there's still enough space so that we can get good circulation up here. Once all of the baffles are in place, you're ready to start blowing the insulation. Even though I told you it's not harmful to breathe, it's still a good idea to wear a breathing mask. That's because this is considered a nuisance dust or a heavy dust, and for that reason, you'll want to wear safety goggles to protect your eyes. As you start blowing, start with the furthest distance away from you and then work it towards yourself. All right, we're through with this side of the attic, and we should have an R19 value. The R value is the standard for measuring the insulation performance. Keep in mind, the higher R value you have, the more energy efficient your home will be. If we wanted a higher R value for this attic, all we'd have to do is blow more insulation. But we're through with this side, so let's go ahead and move to the other side. All right, well that does it for insulating this attic. There's one more important thing that you need to know. If you live in the South, your air conditioner unit will be in the attic. Make sure that you don't blow any insulation into the unit itself or even into the condensation drip pan. Now, if you were to hire someone to come out and do this project for you, you would spend easy $500 or more depending on the size of your attic. But we did it ourselves for roughly $100. So you can see the savings, plus you're going to see savings every month on your utility bills. If you would like more information on this project or others, contact us on the internet at michaelholigan.com.
A lot of cellular phones, cordless power tools, cordless vacuums, and camcorders all use nickel-cadmium batteries. Now, the cadmium in these batteries is actually a highly toxic heavy metal. So when your battery won't take a charge, instead of throwing it in the trash, you really should take it to be recycled. Well, where are you going to take it, you may ask? Here's a quick tip for you. The Rechargeable Battery Recycling Corporation has set up drop-off centers nationwide. Now, a lot of these places are at your home centers, at your discount stores, and electronic stores. So you can just take them in there, drop them off to be recycled. Now, if you're unsure whether your battery is a NiCad battery, then check the label. There should be a familiar recycling logo on it. Now, with many of the new power tools, they use nickel metal hydride batteries. When you're not sure, assume that it's a NiCad and go ahead and drop it off to be recycled.
Okay, you got your formals, kitchen with the nook, master down, plus the optional fourth bedroom.
Isn't that a closet?
Well, see, that's the beauty of it. It's a closet, it's a bedroom, it's entirely up to you. You put a game in there, it's a game room, for crying out loud.
Well, when it comes to a game room, size does matter. You need to take a lot of things into consideration, starting with size. If you're going to put a pool table in there, 4x8, or a ping pong table, you need at least 5 feet all the way around the table to give you plenty of room for cue sticks or running back and forth with paddles. And you need to also plan where you're going to put items inside your house and what your needs are. And when I say your needs, I mean like electricity and a circuit big enough to handle it. Here we've got a great jukebox here in the corner. We're going to need some power for this jukebox, and we need it close. We don't want to string cables all the way around the room. So plan it out before you build the house. If you're going to have video games, anything like that, make sure that you've got power going to them. And take advantage of the spaces you normally wouldn't think about. Right up here on top, we have what looks like a plant shelf going all the way around the room. It's actually for our train set. That way we don't have to take up space on the floor itself. We put it up in the air, and it looks great, and it goes all the way around the room. Also take in consideration the area above you that you normally wouldn't consider. Are you going to hang things off there? You're going to change the looks? Here the homeowner came in and took the ceiling out and expanded it up against the rafters. That means things that were up in the attic are now exposed, and he did a great job with it. Look at this duct system here where air conditioning and heat is running through. It looks awesome. And then here are 4 different tubes. We've got 2 yellow, that's hot and cold water. We've got a black tube for security. We've also got a red conduit for all of our electricity needs. If you're going to bring in a gaming table, make sure that you have plenty of room for your chairs. They look great pushed up underneath it, but once you pull them back, have you got plenty of room to play? If you got some place to set drinks and food, take that into account when you're planning the room. Also take into account how you're going to get the big stuff into the room. The jukebox, the pool table, an ordinary door, probably not wide enough. Here we have an oversized door, 3 feet wide. We can get it in there. It's very inexpensive to do when you're building it up front, so do it at that point. Also consider your hallways. Do you have a sharp bend in your hallway where you're not going to be able to get this big stuff around? Or is it too narrow? Make sure you plan ahead, especially those stairs. Don't put it on the 3rd floor. I can't say enough about needing to plan out your game room. Here he's got some great signs, also a clock on here. They all need electricity. They need their own circuit for power, and they put all of the outlets right next to the signs and the clock. That means we don't have cables hanging across on our walls. It really looks sharp. Plus, circuit is wired into a switch here, so no one has to climb up on a ladder to turn them on. Again, very smart, but hard to do after the fact. It's good to do it during the planning stage. Now the homeowners even planned in advance to put the kitchen right next to the game room, easy access to snacks. If you don't have the ability to do that, go ahead and get an ice maker and a microwave up in that game room so you're not running back and forth every time you get hungry. What would have been a cubby hole they used for a computer center, again, smart thinking, and their entertainment center is here. Now what child wouldn't want to spend a lot of time in a game room like this? It keeps them off the streets. It's a safe haven for your family. If If you'd like more information about designing the perfect game room for your home, contact us on the internet at michaelholigan.com.
Did you ever get up on a Saturday morning and have that project list you're going to work on? You got your trusty battery drill. Take your battery, plug it in. Lo and behold, I forgot to charge that battery from the last project I was on. Well, Skil's come up with a new system. It's called a dual source system. Here's the battery charger. Plugs into normal household current. My battery, put it in there. And while that battery's charging, here's that dual source. You can just plug this right into the charger. This adapter, and it converts to 12 volt. Plug that right into my drill. It's got a 10-foot cord on it. I can use it just like an electric drill. They sell this in kit form. They got a nice little light. It's got an extra light bulb on the bottom. Plug that in, switch on the back. It's got an adjustable beam. I can focus. Real nice swivel head. You can use it just like a flashlight. What's also nice about this is I can set it right down on the bench. I could focus in on a project so I can always see what I'm doing. Another one that comes in this kit, I really like this one. It's what they call the air gun. Snap that right in place. The air gun will pump up to 150 psi. It'll pump up a car tire. Over here, I've got an attachment that comes with it. Insert it into the gun, tighten up this nut here on it. As I'm pumping it up, right on the back it's got a button. Turn it on, it'll tell me how many psi I'm putting into this tire. There's 15. There's 40 pounds. It's a pretty nice tool. It's got some other attachments with it. It's got a needle valve right here for footballs, basketballs. Really great. The kids will love to have this around to pump them up. Here's another piece for inflatable toys. Just put that in there and pump those up. It goes in the same way. And for those projects where you need a little bit more power, they have a 14.4 volt that comes in the same dual source system. You got a lot of screws to drive. It gets kind of cumbersome. You got loose screws. Hard on the fingers when you're starting them. But it works okay. But they've got an attachment that fits on all drills. It's called a quick drive system. Quick drive system, real easy to install. Slip a collar right behind the chuck. Take your system here, slide the sleeve in, tighten it up on the drill. Nice and tight. Take the collar, screw it down. Just snug it up. Don't get it too tight into there. Then we take some screws, which got a strip on it. They come on a strip. Just slip it right into place here. If I can get it right in there. Slip it right in. And this will shoot screws just repeatedly. One right after the other. Work great for putting on deck boards. If you got a lot of projects to do, air compressors are real handy. This is a dual tank, 2 horsepower motor, an adjustable regulator. This knob here adjusts the flow of air, and you can read it through the gauge. It comes out the hose, and it'll regulate the speed at which your air tool will run. When you're buying an air compressor, make sure you get one big enough, because I'll guarantee you, these air compressor tools are inexpensive, and you'll upgrade, and you'll get more and more of them, so make sure you get a big enough air compressor that'll run all of them. Here's a palm nailer. Palm nailers have been around a long time. It's a real handy tool to have. It's great for working in tight places. All we have to do is take the nail, put it in the head there. See how it drives that nail right in? You can drive them on angles, drive them straight. Really a nice tool. All these tools and attachments I've shown you today range in price from $100 to $400. If you'd like some more information on them, contact us on the internet at michaelholigan.com.
Today we're going to be checking out some products that are all cordless and wireless. And the advantage of that is it takes an ordinary product and makes it more versatile, gives you some more freedom. A perfect example is right here. This is the Black & Decker Party Mate. Now this is just a regular blender, except as you can see, there are no strings attached. It works off of these two rechargeable batteries, which are right there. It has a water-resistant design to it, shatterproof, and you can take this anywhere, to the beach, poolside, on the boat. It's nice and lightweight. It has stainless steel blades inside, and even the top is tethered so that when you take it anywhere, you don't lose the top. Now the cost of the Party Mate is about $70, and you can find it in the Solutions catalog. Now this may look like a typical iron, but this iron is missing one very important feature. It's missing the cord. There's no cord there. This is a cordless iron. And what's great about that, it allows you to iron without worrying about getting all tangled up in the cord. Also, usually you pick where you're going to iron based on the only available outlet. That's not the case with this iron. The way it gets its power is from a power base. You just put it in just like that, and it charges up. It takes about a minute to go from a cold iron to fully heated up. And once that minute's up, you just grab it, and then you're ready to start pressing some shirts. Now, it has all the features you'd expect to find in a typical iron these days. It's got a no-stick bottom on it. It's got a steam feature. You can see the steam right there. And as far as settings go, you can see it's got all the settings you'd expect as well in a traditional iron. Now, the cost of this iron is about $100, and it's from Sharper Image. Now, these stereo headphones are not only comfortable with this comfort band, they feel terrific, and the sound quality is superb, but what's really terrific about this headset is that it's 900 megahertz cordless. So that means you can go about 300 feet away from this base, which is plugged into your home stereo, and still bring that great home stereo sound with you. So that means if you're doing some housework, or sitting by the pool, or gardening, or cutting the lawn, you can still be listening to your home stereo and be about 300 feet away. Now, what's also nice about it is that when you're doing those chores, you don't have to feel disconnected from the family, because by just pushing a button right here, hey, it's time for dinner, you're summoned back to the real world. Now, the cost of these headsets is about $110, and they're from JVC. Now, if you want everyone to hear the great quality of your home stereo, well then, check this out. Now, this is an indoor-outdoor wireless speaker, and just like with the last product, it's 900 megahertz. That means you plug the transmitter into your home stereo, and you can go about 300 feet and still listen to some beautiful music. Just flip it on. There you go. You got some beautiful music. You can place it out here on the terrace, like I'm doing right now, or you can place it next to a pool or in the garden. And because it's indoor-outdoor, you can also place it even inside your bathroom, and the steamy environment won't hurt it. Now, it works with 8C batteries, which go right in here, or you can plug it into an AC outlet. Now, the cost of this product is about $130, and it's from Advent. Staying with our cordless wireless theme, this is a mouse without a tail because it's a cordless mouse. The only connection this mouse has to the computer is an infrared signal that goes to this receiver right here, which plugs into the mouse port in the CPU. Once you have it hooked up, it operates just like a traditional mouse. Click on things, click on other things, they open, they close. It's very simple. Because there's no cord here, it gives you some added freedom, so you can lean back in your chair and you can still operate your computer from a bit of a distance away, and gives you a little bit more freedom. It's a little easier on your back, and you're no longer chained to your desktop. Now, the cost of this cordless mouse is about $60, and it's from JVC. And finally, I'm taking a little stroll along Biscayne Bay, and from this beautiful spot, there's no way I could get or send emails, right? It's very possible with this device right here. Now, this is the BlackBerry by a company called Research in Motion, and though it looks like a beeper on steroids, it's actually a device that allows you to get and send emails. Very simple to operate. Just scroll through the options. I want to get my email, and there's one right there. Let's see what it is. They saw me on your new house. To send an email, just go back here, go to Compose, and I can send an email just like that. I also have an address book built in here, there's a calendar, even a calculator, and there's a little port right over here so I can hook this up to my PC so it can swap information with my home computer. Now, the cost of this BlackBerry is about $400. The monthly charge for the email service is about $40 a month. Now, for more information on this product or any of the other Check This Out products, check out our website at michaelholigan.com.